on these code. Give a double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. And give a double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. Alright, brothers and sisters, we out today. We camping a little bit. We out. It's about 8:41 in the morning. We out preaching the destruction and the downfall of the system. What we look at is the European Common Market System, which is the Babylonian mystery system of today. See? And most people, they don't really understand the events that's taking place on the world stage. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand what the events that's taking place on the world stage today. You know, we just come up out of quote unquote, quote unquote Christmas, right? And which is the celebration of quote unquote Tammuz, right? And most people, they don't really understand that concept. Is because, you know, you got to kind of look at this situation as the Matrix. You know, everybody was tapped into the Matrix, and people was living different realities and stuff. And it wasn't until like Neo, he started to see something different, that he ended up being introduced to Morpheus. You know what I'm saying? And Morpheus gave him, quote unquote, the blue pill and the red pill. I think he took the blue pill. Whatever pill he took, you know, one pill, he was going to go back into the reality that he was at, and then another pill he was going to take, and he was going to see the world for what it is, you know. And that's really what we dealing with today, man. You know what I'm saying? It's because, you know, my elder, he was telling me something, and I didn't even really look at it like that, you know what I'm saying? And I was telling him about my family and how, you know, the good things about my family and some of the bad things about my family. And, you know, he was telling me, like, you know, you really don't understand what type of dude you is. I say, what, you know, what you mean by that, you know? And he was saying that basically you're a type of dude that's been elected by the Creator, see? And out of your whole family. And I had to think about that, man. And I was just like, here it is. You know, I got family members I got people in my family. They've been going to church for years, man. Like my grandmother, she was a devoted member following Christianity. You know what I mean? And I had to really look at that. My uncles and stuff like that. Not saying that they perfect or nothing. It's just that, you know, they have always been devoted to Christianity. And here it is. I'm a person, I never really went to church, you know what I'm saying? When I got in my 20s, I got baptized, but I did it for the wrong reasons, you know what I'm saying? I did that because I was in a relationship, and I thought that that was the good thing to do because I saw my female doing it, you know. But church, following Christianity, it never really stuck with me. I never really could follow something like that, you know what I'm saying? And I always had issues. And one of the issues that I had with Christianity, to be honest with you, I'm being honest, one of the issues that I had with Christianity was the whole thing of the pastor. You know what I'm saying? The pastor, he running around with these cars, and, you know, he got all this wealth, you know, but the neighborhood is destroyed. You know what I'm saying? You got drug dealers. Not saying that he could save the whole neighborhood, but I always looked at Christianity as a racket. But see, I didn't really know nothing else. And, listening to my family and stuff, certain people in my family, they'd be like, well, you got to get right with God, you know what I'm saying? And things of this nature. So that's one of the reasons why I jumped into the situation of going to church a little bit. But it only lasted for a minute, man, because I knew right there that wasn't for me. But later on, I started looking at Minister Farrakhan. And he kind of sparked something in my consciousness is because he started talking about, quote unquote, the black man this and the black man that and this and that and that and the third, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of things that he was saying, it registered to my spirit, you know what I'm saying? So I was kind of thinking about becoming, quote unquote, a Muslim, but it wasn't until I saw the brothers on CAN TV out here in Chicago. We got a TV show. It's a cable network called CAN TV. And it wasn't until I seen the brothers on television and they was talking about this way of life, being a Hebrew Israelite, the black man is, that he's Israel. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I saw that, yeah, you gotta go around. How you doing? It wasn't until, that I saw that it registered. It was just like a light went off. And then when I started to see that, then all these brothers just coming out of nowhere, all these TV shows. And like I say, up until like my 20s, that's when I started kind of trying to read the Bible and stuff. I wasn't a religious person. I didn't grow up in the church. My mother didn't make me go to church, you know what I'm saying? But when I started to get older, I wanted to learn about things, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like the Creator took me on a certain type of journey where I started to dibble and dabble until when I reached 25, that's when I really wanted to learn about the Creator, you know what I'm saying? And then next day, I started learning about the Most High, you know what I'm saying? And then when I started seeing I started looking at them videos, the TV show, that's when I started seeing a lot of people that was quote unquote talking about this way of life, man. And from that point on, I saw the rabbi. And when I saw James Hodges singing, everything just clicked, man. And it wasn't until yesterday when his son was telling me that, hey, man, you know what I'm saying, the Most High chose you to be a part of this situation, man. And I had to really think about that, and I said, yeah, you know what I'm saying, He chose a brother, man, because a lot of people is not chosen. And you can read the Bible all day, and we see the situation dealing with that is because when you start asking people about certain aspects of the Bible, they don't know. And see, one of the things that I failed to realize, we was talking about heaven and hell, how they teach that when you die, you're going to be, quote unquote, in hell or something. Or you die, you're going to be in heaven, see? And there's glimpses of that quote unquote, in the Bible, but the Bible don't teach that. See, and this is how you know who's chosen and who's not. See, and I'm not saying chosen in the sense of quote unquote, I'm better than other people. It's just you chosen to do a particular job. And what is the job? The job is to resurrect our people. So it don't mean just because the Creator chose you that you think you above, other people. But when we look at glimpses of history, when we look at the civil rights movement, when we look at Malcolm X, when he was a part of the Nation of Islam, even after when he left the Nation of Islam, those people, we got to understand that Malcolm, he came into some type of consciousness when he was in his early 20s. You know what I'm saying? When he was in his early 20s. And he joined the Nation of Islam, but we see the workings, like he was about the growth and development of his people. See, that's what he was about. And he died doing that, see. And the same thing with Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. They saw the condition of black people in those times when we was dealing with, quote unquote, Jim Crow laws, black codes, and things of this nature, because you got to understand that, ever since 1865, we was being heavily discriminated against as people, right? So, we being discriminated and things of this nature, but we being discriminated. But, those people came on the scene. And there's been many other different groups that have done certain things for so-called black people. You know what I'm saying? So when we talking about being chosen, we talking about in the strength of being chosen to do a particular job. And see, a lot of times your family, they don't understand what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not an advocate of pimping and things of this nature, but I was listening to this dude named Pimpin' Ken, and Pimpin' Ken was saying that basically a man gotta live by certain types of principles. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that a man got to be doing, he always got to be doing something. And he can't always be accessible to people. I don't even care if it's his mama, And when he say something, he means it, see? And that's the, if I agree with anything that Pimpin' Ken is talking about, I agree with that. See, a man got to be about something. And see, like Martin Luther King said, if a man is not willing to die for something, he's not fit to live. See, and most people, how y'all doing, man? All right, they not, you know what I'm saying? They not ready to die for something. See, and see, when you believe in something to the fact that you ready to put your life on the line for it, you're a dangerous person, man. So what we gonna do, man, because we don't wanna be out here, quote unquote, keep talking to things in this nature. We're gonna get into the scriptures, right? Because my man, he was saying something about being chosen. He was saying that out of all your family, the Most High chose you. He said, now, what does that say about you? And I didn't really know. I'm like, I don't really know. He said, man, you one of the elect, man. That's what you gotta know. See? You one of the elect, man. And you've been chosen to do a particular job, man. See, ain't nothing wrong with going to work, having fun and things of this nature. But we come outside in the jungle week in and week out to preach the destruction and the downfall of the system. That's what we supposed to be doing. And we're supposed to be about some type of growth and development for our people. See, you know, when we come into contact, when we come into contact with brothers and stuff like that, and the Creator gives you, you know, the Creator gives you, quote unquote, you know, He gives you fruit, meaning that He starts drawing people towards you. You got to be able to put the people, and you got to be able to move the people in the right direction, man. See, if you're dealing with a brother on the street, he ain't got no job, you gotta encourage him to go to work, man. See, because a person that don't work, he don't eat. See, you gotta teach them to be responsible. You gotta encourage people to be responsible for themselves. See, so that's one of the concepts of being a leader. You know. So let's look at something, man. This is the book of Ezekiel, and I'm gonna start reading at the third chapter. It says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man." Matter of fact, let me see something. Okay, let's look at something. This is the book of Ezekiel. We're in the second chapter, and I'm going to start reading at the first verse. And it says, "And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee." See, and you know, that's Ezekiel. See, these are our ancestors, man. See, the Bible, quote unquote, the Bible is the black man's history, regardless of if people want to agree with it or not. See, the Bible is the so-called Negro's history. See, they didn't bring no niggas to America, man. They brought the nation of Israel to America, right? During the transatlantic slave trade. And no disrespect to other groups and stuff like that, but that's what it is, man. The Creator brought the so-called Negro to America to live out his punishment. Not just America, he brought him to Brazil, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and things of this nature. And you know, we gotta steal a quote from Tariq Nasheed when he says that the black man over here in America, he had quote unquote an ethnogenesis, meaning that he's a new group of people. But see, the ethnogenesis that our people had is that we was following the gods of the other nations. See, it doesn't mean that they not Israelites no more. See, they not Israelites no more. They didn't start mixing with everybody. See, we still them peoples because why? It's because that blood is still pumping through the veins. So let's look at this. It says, "And the Spirit entered," it says, one second. It says, "And the Spirit entered into me, and he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me." And what is that? This is Ezekiel having a personal relationship with the Most High. The Most High is speaking to Ezekiel in his consciousness, right? And why is that? Because, you know, Ezekiel was chosen. Ezekiel's job was to speak to the moral corruption of the nation of Israel. That's what Ezekiel's job was. And that's what our job is today, see? So it says what? It says, "And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me." See, and how do we rebel against the Most High? We start following after the customs and traditions of the other nations. And see, this is what's going on with us today. See, when you look at the so-called Negro, when you ask him his nationality, where he come from, where his people descend from, he's gonna tell you a lot of things. See, we black, We went from niggas to Negroes to black to color to African American, and now we calling ourselves foundational Black Americans. See, and that's what you would call. How you doing, sister? That's what you would call the proverbs and the bywords that has been placed upon our people, dealing with quote unquote the curses of Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. So he says what? He says, "For he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day." See? And he was talking about then, and he's talking about now. See, it's because we still transgressing against the Most High. See, we still transgressing against the Creator. How are we doing that? It's because we're following customs and traditions that's contrary to the Creator. See, we're not supposed to be dealing with Christmas. We're not supposed to be dealing with Easter. We're not supposed to be dealing with all these pagan holidays. See, we're not supposed to be engaging into homosexuality. We ain't supposed to be killing each other. You know, I had just came from work. I was going to work yesterday because, you know, we're in captivity. A lot of times you got to do things that you don't want to do, right? But, you know, I was going to work, and I seen a guy on the street. He was laid out. He was dead on the street out there on the north side. See, somebody there, when we get the story, some guys had shot him. You know, probably using one of them guns, the switches and things of this nature. But one of the tenants in the building, they said about 100. They felt like 100 rounds went off. You know what I'm saying? And what is that? That's black on black crime. See, we ain't supposed to do that. So when Ezekiel is talking, the spirit of Ezekiel is on the scene today. See, because who is rebellious? Our people is rebellious. See, we killed each other, and we don't have no regards for each other, even on social media. We use social media not to uplift each other. We use social media to tear down each other. You got people like Charleston White. You got people like WAC 100. They out here to cause dissension and cause disruption amongst the people. See? To pit different gangs against each other instead of bringing brothers together, you know, and trying to do things positive, because social media can be used as a tool to try to educate people. But a lot of times we use social media as a thing because we're making $30,000 and $40,000 of how much money that we're making. We use it to do what? To tear each other down, to cause disruption. Black men going against each other, see? And that was, you know, that was a whole concept in slavery, see? You know, how they used to pit different black people against one another. So when the scripture says, it says what? And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. See? So this is the history of our forefathers. See, they didn't bring no niggas to America. They brought the nation of Israel to America. See? Because of the sins of our forefathers. See, our forefathers was chosen too to do a particular job, which is to go out. You know, we was chosen to master the principles of the Creator. saying what is the principles? That's dealing with the law. See, we were supposed to master that, and then eventually we were supposed to teach it to the whole world. Well, what did we start doing? We started wanting to be just like the other nations, is because we didn't understand the responsibility that the Creator had did what? Bestowed upon us as a nation of people. So it says, for they are imprudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Yahweh. See, man, we see another thing too. See, we didn't know Jesus. See, we didn't know Jesus during that time. See, wasn't no such thing as Jesus during that time. See, we knew the Creator, what they call the Tetragrammaton. See, that's who we knew the Creator as, or what they call the Tetragrammaton. See, the YHWH, Yahweh, Yehovah. See, however you gonna pronounce it, we're not going against the name, but Yah is the Creator. See, that's the one that was dealing with the nation of Israel, right? So when we talk about God, Yah is the Creator. That's the one who was dealing with our ancestors. This is why we're in trouble today, is because see, we are dealing with a whole different Creator. That's why I say a lot of us are rebellious, man. See, you tell our people who the Creator is, and you know our people, they hard-headed, man. They gonna rebel against that. See, it's because we following the mark of the beast. That's what we doing today. See, we're not following the Creator no more. Some of us are, but a lot of us, we following after a different God. See, that's what we doing today. And this is why the Creator said what? He said what? He says, for they are imprudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Elohim. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house. Yet shall I know that there have been a prophet among them. See, and a prophet is a person that's supposed to do what? Tell them the events, tell them about the events that's taking place on the world stage, man, both present and future. So when Ezekiel was coming to our ancestors, Ezekiel was telling our ancestors that what? You got to repent, man. You got to change your ways. So you got to return back to the Creator. Unless the Creator is going to deal with you. But our people, see, this is what's wrong with our people right back then. They knew who the Creator was, and they still rebelled against the Creator. And every time the Creator put us in slavery, here it is, we started to do what? We started to cry out to the Creator and things of this nature. And then the Creator deliver us out of captivity. But eventually, the Creator, He stopped delivering us out of captivity. He kept us in captivity until we understood what's going on. And then eventually what happened? We started to do it over again. So how long we been in this captivity under the Euro-Gentile? For over 500 and something years. See? We was in physical chains for about 200 and something years. And then later on, we're in chains in the mindset for 500 and something years, but we actually been in slavery. Tomorrow we finna come up on tomorrow, which is 2026 years of the so-called Negro being in slavery under all these different nations. See? And this is what we don't understand is because, see, we rebellious. We don't want to go back home. We don't even know where home is at. See? I was listening to a discussion with Tariq Nasheed and some Africans. And you know, the Africans, with they hypocritical, disrespectful self, you know, they telling Tariq Nasheed, you know, your roots is in Africa and things of this nature. And he was like, well, why y'all ain't never came to our aid to try to get us out of slavery and things of this nature? But what he don't understand is that the so-called African out there, they don't even have no power. How they gonna get you out of slavery? See? How they gonna do that? You know what I'm saying? What means of power do they have to get you out of this situation? They don't have none. See? How you doing, sir? They don't have no power. So how they gonna get you out of slavery? I understand what he meant by that, but still though, see, the reason why we in quote unquote slavery, or the reason why we went into slavery, is because of the sins of our ancestors. And you know, when you in prison, right? The one thing about prison, you know, you rather I would say if you got life or you got a due date that you're going to be released, right? You got to come to the realization as a person of what you have done. And that a lot of times that's difficult for us. And see, a lot of us is saying we don't know why we came into slavery. There's a reason why we came into slavery. Why is it that if we go to Africa and we look on the walls of Egypt, all the paintings on the wall, even though they trying to whitewash a lot of things, the paintings on the wall, we see dark-skinned people, right? We see dark-skinned people. What happened to the so-called black man? We talk about how we was kings and queens, how we ruled and things of this nature. What happened? And I'm not just talking about Israel. I'm talking about all the whole quote unquote. It ain't nothing but one race, but the blacks as a whole, the so-called black man as a whole, whether what nationality that you belong to, what happened to the black man and the black woman? See, why the black man is not in power over there in Egypt? When we look at places like all up in Africa, Northeast Africa, the west coast of Africa, I think the eastern part of Africa, South Africa, the black man is not even ruling. See, and if he's still over there, he's in a deplorable situation. Look at them people over there in Somalia. See, the people over there in Ethiopia, they not ruling. See? So what happened to us? And I'm telling you what happened to us. See, what happened to us is that we have rebelled against divine order. See, before the so-called white man, and see, we like to glorify this. I'm trying to think of this book. I think it's by Chancellor Williamson or something like that. It talks about how black people, you had black warriors and stuff back in the day, see? And what people don't understand, that's really the downfall of our people, is because what we was doing back then, we was warring against each other. Different tribes was going against different tribes. We was killing one another. See, we killed the women, we killed the children and things of this nature. You know, there has always been a concept in the black culture is that if a black person did something, you gonna wipe out his whole family. See, you gonna wipe out his whole family so that his lineage won't exist no more. See, this is what we was doing. See, the so-called white man, he wasn't doing that at first. We was the originators at that type of stuff. So when we understand that, we gotta understand that, you know, the so-called Negro, see, we have done a lot of things in the world, see. In order for us to go to the next level, we have to do what? We have to acknowledge that we have failed as individuals, especially the nation of Israel, the so-called black man. See, we failed to create. You know what I'm saying? But this is why when we talk about the chosen, the Creator is choosing us today to do what? To speak to the moral corruption of our people. See, that's what we're supposed to be doing today. So it says, and thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou doest dwell among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Why is he telling us, don't be afraid of the people? It's because why? They'll kill you. See? They'll kill you. You had some of our people back then, they was killing you thinking that they was doing the will of the Creator. And you had some of them, they was killing you, and they knew they wasn't doing the will of the Creator. See? That's why he's saying, don't be afraid at they looks, how they looking at you. It's because why? It's because they're gonna be, some of them is gonna be adversary towards you. When you start telling the people, hey, you shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z, this, that, and the third. They're gonna be against you when you do that. See, who are you to tell me something? See? And that was the same thing with Isaiah. See, when Isaiah was speaking to the moral corruption of the nation of Israel, they did the same thing with Isaiah. See, they rebelled against Isaiah. Because, you know, Isaiah was in the mix too. See, he was following his, I think his cousin or his uncle Uzziah, see? Until the Creator opened up his understanding. And then Isaiah, he repented, see? He started to follow the Creator. He was under the influence of the Creator. But when he started coming to the people, they rebelled against him, man. And what was he telling them? Look, if you don't get yourself together, if you don't change your concept, if you don't return back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Creator, then you going into slavery. That's what's finna happen to you. The Babylonians finna come up in here and bust you right upside the head. But see, our people, they didn't think that. See. So it says what? It says, and thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou doest dwell among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. For they are most rebellious. So what is he saying? Whether they accept it or not, see? They accept it or not. They rebellious, man. See? They rebellious. Whether they accept the situation or not. They are rebellious people. And that's what's going on with our people. See, we're not following the Creator, man. We're not following the Creator. We don't even know the Creator because why? We're in a modern day Egypt. So when I look at that term when he's talking about the chosen, You ain't chosen just because. You chosen to do a particular job, man. Your job is to do what? To preach the gospel, man. See? Whether in season or out of season. That's what our job is. Our job is to preach the gospel of the kingdom to the whole world. Whether they want to hear it or they don't want to hear it. See? That's what our job is. That was our job back then, and that's our job today. So it says what? And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto them. It says, hear what I say unto thee. It says, be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee. So what are he talking about? See, you can't tell them something and then you turn around and start doing the things that they doing. See, you can't do that. So that's what he's saying. Be not like them. So you gotta be different from them. See? You gotta be different from them. You can't be talking about following the Creator and then you doing the same things that they doing. So what do you will be considered as? You're gonna be considered as what? A hypocrite, man. You're gonna be a hypocrite in the eyes of the people, and you're gonna be a hypocrite in the eyes of the Creator. And that's more important, you being a hypocrite in the eyes of the Creator. Because the Creator is the all and be all, right? So it says, when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. And there was written therein lamentation and mourning and woe. And what is that? That's destruction, man. So he's telling Ezekiel, don't get caught up in the blaze with these people, because if they don't hear what I got to say to them, then what's going to happen? I'm finna raise up a nation that's going to do my bidding against them. That's why he called Cyrus his anointed. He didn't call Cyrus the anointed because Cyrus was preaching the gospel or nothing like that. He used Cyrus as an individual, as a mechanism to take down Israel, see? And this is what we're looking at today, man. See, this is a glorious time that we're living in today, man, because we're looking at the destruction and the terror of these nations, man. See, the people today, man, they don't understand what's going on, man. They don't understand what's going on, man. People, they don't have a care in the world, see? They living a life, they living deliciously out here. But what's going to happen is, man, they about to see the face of the Creator. And when I'm talking about the people, I'm talking about these Americans out here, see? They about to see the face of the Creator. See, we talking about chariots and stuff like that. Nah, this ain't no UFO. What is that? That is the destruction of the Most High. See, the chariots that we talking about today is what? The bombs and all the terror that's going to be inflicted on the human family. See, it's because in actuality, the whole human family is rebellious, man. How y'all sisters doing? See, the whole human family is rebellious, right? So it says, the 3rd chapter, moreover, he said unto me, he said what? Son of man, eat that thou, it says, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. And what is the roll that he's talking about that you're going to eat, see? You know, because he ain't say go eat a dinner roll. The roll is what? The spirit of Yah, see? That's what he's telling Ezekiel to eat. You got to be up under my vibration. My man, Melchizedek Supreme Shabazz Allah. He said Malcolm X was a trailblazer because Malcolm X was under the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. See, that's what made Malcolm smoking. But see, we looking at a quote unquote, we looking at a new teacher today. See, and who is the new teacher? That's the Creator. See, that's the teacher, right? So when he's talking about eat the roll and things of this nature, he's talking about what? You got to be under the spirit of the Most High. So when he says what? He says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat this roll and speak unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee." So this food that he's giving Ezekiel, it gotta be what? It gotta be food for the sweetness, man. See, it gotta be food for the sweetness, right? So he says, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels. And this roll that I give thee, then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for the sweetness. See? And that's how it is, man, when you have the spirit of the Creator, man. It's like honey in the mouth, and it's what? It's for the sweetness. See? It's sweet. So it says, and he said unto me, Son of man, go and get thee unto the house of Israel, and do what? And speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. See, so what? They speak the same language, right? So he gotta come deal. And why is he talking to them? Because he got to deal with the moral corruption of the nation. Because we rebellious, man. We weren't following the Creator, man. We was following what? The other nations. This is what we was doing, right? So it says, for thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not to many people of a strange speech, and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. But the house of Israel would not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are imprudent and hard-headed. See, and why was they speaking a strange speech? It's because they was following after the customs and traditions of the Babylonian mystery system. See, that's what they was following. See, they weren't following the Most High. See, they was following who? The adversary. See, they was under the influence of Lucifer. That's really what they was under the influence of, right? So it says, behold, I have made thy face strong against their face, and thy forehead strong against their. So what does that mean? You got to be prepared. You not compromising with them. See, you gonna say what thus says the Most High, whether they hear it or they don't hear it, because really what it's saying is that the people got a choice, man. They don't have to listen to what you're saying. It's either they gonna listen to it or they not gonna listen to it, right? It says, behold, I have made thy face strong against their face, and thy forehead strong against their forehead. As an adamant heart, it says, as an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thy heart, and hear with thy ears. See, because what is this? This is a spiritual battle, man. This is a spiritual battle. See, within a spiritual battle, man, there's casualties, man. See, and from a physical and a spiritual standpoint of view, man, you can be killed for doing this. See, they'll kill you for doing this. And this is what was happening to a lot of the prophets. That's why the Mashiach, when he was speaking, he said, "Who? Man, y'all killed the prophets, man. See, y'all killed the prophets." I wish I could find that scripture. I think it's the 16th chapter of the book of John. I think so. When it talks about they'll kill you and how you thinking they'll kill you, and they thinking that they doing the will of the Creator, and that's in Israel too. See, they'll beat you down, man. Got you thinking, and they thinking that they doing some other, doing the will of the Most High. See, because I remember a situation where I was looking at something with what's them guys, IJGC or something like that. This is with Tazadakia. He was going around with his brothers that was at his temple. He was going around antagonizing other Israelites, man, trying to jump on them, trying to fight them and stuff like that, because he thought in his heart that because they rebelled against One West, because he felt like the Creator had anointed him as the high priest. So any organization that was out in the streets that time, he was going around, he was trying to fight them guys, intimidating them, trying to stop them from preaching. You know? He was trying to stop them from preaching. See? But a lot of them brothers, you know, they stood tall, man. They was willing to die for the Creator. Now, I may not agree with everywhere in the doctrines that they have, and, you know, they don't agree with stuff that I'm doing. But, you know, you got to commend those brothers, that those brothers, they was willing to get a life for this truth, man. And that's what it means when you say you got to make your forehead strong against their forehead, man. So you got to make your forehead strong against theirs. Meaning that what? You can't be afraid, man. You can't be afraid of these people out here, man. See? Because, man, how you doing? You know, these cats out here, man, they under the influence of who? Under Lou, man. And you got to know this situation coming in is that what? That there's a possibility that you can be put to death out here, you know? So it says, and go get thee to the, it says, and go get thee to them of the captivity unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them and tell them, thus saith Yah, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of a great Russian saying, blessed be the glory of Yah from this place, It says, I heard also the noise of wings of living creatures that touch one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them, and a noise of a great rushing. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went into, it says, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit. But the hand of Yah was strong upon me. See, because man, he was devoted, man. See, he was devoted, and that's how we got to be today. See, you got to be devoted out here, man. See? Check this out. It says, and it came, 16 verse, and it came to pass at the end of 7 days, the word of Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the words in my mouth and give them warning from me. See, so you know the watchmen ain't the Jehovah's Witnesses. See, that's not the watchmen of the Creator. The watchman is not all these Christian movements. That's not the watchman of the Most High, man. The watchman of the Creator is Israel, man. See? So he made my man, Ezekiel, he made him a watchman. See? It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the words at my mouth and give them warning from me. So he's saying what? That this got to come from the Most High, man. See? This ain't up under your vibration. This up under the Creator's vibration. It says, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity. But his blood will I require it says, at thy hand. So what else he's saying? He's saying what? That if you don't tell the people, if you don't speak about the transgressions of the people, then what's going to happen? I'm going to come down on you. See? I'm going to come down on you. You know, you got brothers today, they talk about, you know, they talk about the Creator in silence, but they not coming out here, man. They not out here in the streets. And it's just a small platform, man. This ain't nothing big, but this could be potentially something bigger. See, they not talking about the Creator out in the open. They not doing that, man. Because a lot of times the people are scared, man. They scared. Because they know the situation, and a lot of times, man, they don't want to get involved in this, man. See? But you got to get involved. See? It says, one second. This is the 19th verse of the 3rd chapter. It says, yea, if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity. But thou hast delivered thy soul. See? So like I say, man, we got a mission out here, man. The mission is to tell the so-called Negro and the world that the Creator is displeased with our doings in the world, man. That's why he told Nebuchadnezzar, man, all you had to do was to feed the poor, man. I would have prolonged your days. You know, but when Nebuchadnezzar when he had the nervous breakdown, he came back to his senses, then what happened? He started to do what? He started to give praise to the Creator. See? It says, again, when a righteous man do turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, it says what? He shall die because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he hath done shall be, and shall not be remembered. But his blood will I require at thy hand. So they telling you know, the Creator telling you, see, if you don't do what it is that you're supposed to be doing, then I'm gonna get you. See, I'm gonna get you, whether in this life or the next. But most people, they think that the Creator is a play toy, man. Oh man, you dealing with today rebellious Israelite. They say what? Man, you dealing with a spook God, man. So you tell the Creator come down and talk to me right now. See, this is the mentality of the people, man. You know? So what we gonna do, brothers and sisters, we're gonna cut this off and we're gonna come back at a later date. Shalom, death to America.